chosen ones, empaths. You see, once you've been separate from the narcissist for some time, anxiety tends to build up in the narcissist. You see, because you're the one person in the world who has seen who they truly are. And as we know, they masquerade through life with artificial light. They're pretenders. They're fake. You know, they've got this whole illusionary world set up. But they seriously do fear confronting you. And it's often why they ghost you. It's often why they'll disappear. It's often why they'll run into the next world. Like, it'd be like they just don't exist anymore. You know, they just disappear. It's because they fear you confronting them. But underneath all of that fear and anxiety, they want you back. They want to be back around you. They want you to go back to how you were at the beginning. They want you to forget all of the devaluation, all of the smear campaign. Because once the novelty's worn off, the supply that they gained from the smear campaign and the devaluation and dragging your name through the mud, and flying monkeys aren't so interested in their story anymore. It's not front page news to call it. They begin to miss you, miss what you brought to them. You see, the narcissist is very backward thinking. You've got to do everything in reverse with them. For them to realize what you are and to appreciate what you are, you need to not be in their life. When you was in their life, providing them with A, B, and C, they knew you provided them with that. They were aware of it, but they didn't truly value it. They weren't truly grateful. Please press the like and the subscribe button. Help your brother out. It will take 2 seconds of your time. Thank you. But one of the main fears now that runs through the narcissist is they have a constant internal collision between wanting to be back in your presence and actually the reality of what it would be like back in your presence. And narcissists ruminate. As I've mentioned, we suffer with rumination post-discard. We suffer with intense rumination. But a lot of the reason why we're suffering with intense rumination is because they're ruminating about us. Remember, everything's spiritual. You're connected. If this was an intimate partner and not so much a family member or a work colleague or a friend, you do have soul ties connected to you. So you are still spiritually connected, no matter where they are in the world. Imagine it like having a child and then you lose contact with your child and your child is somewhere in the world and you've got a bond with your child. Sort of like that. Not to that degree because it's a child, but I'm just trying to give you a visualization of what the soul tie possesses. You know, there's a connection that binds you two together. And oftentimes the chosen one and the empath severs this tie and leaves them with the cord dangling from them. They won't sever their tie because that's their supply source. That's the funnel or the tube that feeds them. They want to reattach that. That's why you'll see them pop out of nowhere with hoovers to check your temperament. They always hoover from a distance. It might be a hi, how are you? Phone call in the middle of the night, a text, a fake profile, something like that. They just want to try and retie that cord to you again and try to drag you back into their darkness of a world that they're from. But all of this is to check what your temperament's like, to check if they can really take the risk of confronting you. They don't want to confront you. They're scared to confront you. You'll shake up their world. You'll expose them. You pose a great danger to their reality, you know, to the world, this illusionary world that they live in. You pose a great danger and a great threat to shake that whole world up. And that's oftentimes why the narcissist won't return. They won't return because of the fear and them being scared and having anxiety about you shaking up their world, about you bringing out truth, about you shining light on their darkness. They won't ever get a supply like you again, and they know that. They've often ran through numerous supplies since you know. I'm not trying to trigger any one of you, but you do need to detach from that. You need to understand that the further that they go away, such as more and more supplies, the more and more soul ties that they garner, is the more and more they miss you, is the more and more they realize they will never have someone that will have the value that you possess. A lot of what you've got to do after being intertangled with a narcissist is going on a self-love journey, a journey of self-discovery, truly realizing your value, understanding why this took place, understanding that it wasn't the games of the narcissist that actually caused this to end. It wasn't what you done if they've blamed you and tried to blame you, because they often bring up a whole myriad of reasons why they've ended the relationship, and it's all to do with you. Don't believe none of that for a second. What this actually is, and I've mentioned this previously, is a divine intervention takes place from God. It's a spiritual warfare between you and the narcissist ever since you were together, going back to the very beginning of when you first met, whenever you first encountered them. They're from the dark side, you're from the light side. And it was a battle of good and evil. And one side had to give in. And it's not that you gave in. It's that God picked you up and took you away from that situation. Said no more. My chosen one, my empath, my being of light is no longer going to be plagued by this narcissist. And we were saved. Each of us are like messengers in this world. I'm not saying we're prophets. I'm not saying that we're prophetesses. I'm not saying that we're that. But I'm saying each and every one of us has a chance to be a messenger of God. We all bring our own message in this world. We all bring our own revelations. Right? We all have our own unique journey in life. And we were faced with the evil. And God is so merciful that we were sent as mercy to the narcissist. We were sent to the narcissist to prove to the narcissist that there is good in the world. They don't need to do this trickery. They don't need to do these games to get what they want. They don't need to do any of that. They can speak truthfully. They can speak from their hearts. They don't need to lie. They don't need to manipulate. But oftentimes why they're caught in the catch-22 situation is because when they got to know us, they mirrored us. And all of our values, they said they stood for those values. But really they didn't stand for those values at all, and they were mirroring us. So the further along the journey they got with us, they felt more and more imprisoned by the mirroring. The mirroring of the empath is actually the destruction of the narcissist. Because they mirrored us to such a high degree, we believed that they were something that they wasn't. And we basically fell in love with a reflection of ourselves. They were a good mirror. And we fell in love with ourselves. Everything that you liked about the narcissist was merely a reflection of your own self. That's all it was. They wasn't your soulmate. They wasn't your companion. They wasn't your other half. They were a devil that mirrored you. And if they actually told us back in the beginning days, oh, I don't believe in that, or I don't agree with that, we would have naturally hashed things out with them and worked things out, because we're kind, loving individuals that we are. But they chose not to. They chose to mirror. They chose to manipulate still. And all of it was wasted energy. They didn't need to manipulate. They didn't need to do none of that. And this is why now they've gone off into the sunset. I'm not trying to say that to trigger any one of you. They've gone off to the little scummy corner that they come from, should I say. They've created this whole illusionary world. We're the bad egg. We're the poison. We're the abusive partner. We're this, we're that. They're playing the victim. They're doing all of this. And if for them to let us back in their world, we would shake the whole thing upside down. So they have a choice. Either allow their whole entire existence to be shaken upside down and have us back in their lives. And even if we go back in their lives, it's only going to be momentarily and very brief, where we tell them about themselves and we tell them that we don't want them and door slam them. So therefore they weigh up the options and they say it's not worth it. So they live with this fear. This fear of confronting us remains constant. They constantly ruminate about the idea and the fantasy of confronting us. They clutch to the idea of maybe it could just work out. But they know it won't. When they think about it properly, they know it will never work out. They know they pushed us too far. And as long as you, empath, have decided to turn the other direction, no matter even how many times you tried to reach out and solve things, as long as you're at that point now in your healing journey and you're turning around, if this is still fresh, then please turn around. Stop trying to reach out to them. You need to door slam, bolt, weld it shut, go no contact. And you need to get on with your own life. And you need to leave them with the rumination. You will start to get thoughts about them because they're triggering it from their rumination. They suffer with intense rumination. It's one of their downfalls. They suffer with intense, serious rumination problems. And you will get thoughts about them, but I will promise you it becomes more of a reflection than it does a rumination. The further along in your journey, in your healing journey you go, it will become more of a reflection. But just know the main message of this video was the narcissist fears confronting you because you will shake up this illusionary world that they created. So anyway, thank you for watching today. Please press the like and the subscribe button. If you would like to donate to the channel, you can find the link in the description box. And if you would like a one-to-one session with myself, you can also find the link in the description box. Currently, I have the secondary channel, the spiritual channel. If you would like to check that out, the link for that channel is also in the description box. So anyway, I'll be back with another video soon. Peace.